What's up everyone, I'm PSVAM and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about tanking in Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn. For the last few weeks I've seen some of the newer tanks in my FC struggle when it comes to tanking, especially when it comes to Duty Finder. When partying with random dungeons or when I party up with them for some dungeons, there's some things that they don't do that makes them not do their job properly as a tank. So I wanted to do a little visual representation on how I tank. Granted, I'm not the best tank out there, but I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from a lot of great tanks, got some good tips, and pretty much I've learned from that, and I wanted to pass that along to some of the tanks in my FC and hopefully to some other people out there that are new to the game and want to tank as well. First and foremost, know your abilities as a tank, and since I'm a paladin, I'm going to start with a gladiator paladin skill set since I play one, and most of the tanks that have struggled are gladiators and paladins. A lot of the newer tanks have struggled with Brayflox, so I figured I'd do a run with that, and I'll go through the abilities that you need to do or need to use to help you be a proper tank. First, let's start with your 3 basic attack combo. By the time you get to Brayflox, you'll have all of these abilities available to you. You can combo these together to generate a lot of enmity. Now, this is also called aggro or hate in other MMOs. This pretty much makes the enemy want to kick your ass, and you want to make sure you have aggro, which I'll keep using instead of enmity since I like using aggro better. It makes sure the enemy is on you at all times, and with this combo, this generates a lot of enmity, and this is what you want to use at all times against mobs, especially against bosses or single target fights. Next combo you'll be using a lot as well is Fast Blade, Riot Blade, which is your MP regeneration combo. Especially when you're going up against multiple mobs, you will need this to regenerate your MP quick, and I will go over in the video. Once I start the video, I'll show what I do and how I use it. That way you make sure you have enough MP to use flash and keep the mobs on you at all times. Before you start a fight, make sure you start it off with Shield Love and then go into your combo. Now, for the most part, I've seen tanks go in and do flash and then start attacking. Once the healer heals them, they lose aggro super quick. So start off with Shield Love. It is a nice ability that generates a decent amount of aggro on the targeted mob. Once you get that, you go into your combo, and then you go from there. Next up is cooldowns. Know what they do. I'll just give a quick rundown on what they are. Rampart increases your defense, Fight or Flight increases your tank, and Convalescence helps with healing, especially when you're getting attacked from multiple angles, and it helps your healer heal you in a pinch. The most important ability, especially for a paladin gladiator in dungeons, is flash, especially when you're going up against multiple mobs of enemies. Now, this generates a decent amount of aggro, but it's a 360 circle wide AoE. It blinds the targets. It's a nice AoE, and it keeps the enemies on you, especially if you have 6, 7, 8 mobs on you at all times, and you can't keep track. You can't keep aggro with just your basic combo. You will be using this a lot. A lot of tanks I've seen, especially in my FC that I've run with, use this sparingly. You use this every single time you're in a dungeon. Combo, flash. Combo, flash, or if you're going up against multiple mobs, just flash, flash, flash. Fast Blade, Riot Blade, flash, Fast Blade, Riot Blade, flash. As long as you keep these on you, your DPS will take them out and your healer will be happy, since everything's going to be targeting you. Your healer is going to be healing you and just you, and it'll make the fights go smoother. Okay, before we start, we'll go through the enmity indicators when you start a dungeon that shows how much aggro you have. First, it's going to be on your party list with the bars, with the white bars and numbers, and then your enemy list with the color indicators. A full white bar and the A indicates that you have full control of the enemy, you have full aggro, the mob is attacking you, and that's what you want at all times, which also indicates a red dot on the enemy list. Okay, we go into 2 to 4, who's next in line to taking your aggro. on your party list, and the green dot represents you don't have control of that. You have no aggro on that mob whatsoever. Yellow means you're building it up. Orange means you're almost there, and then red means you have full control of the mob. Also, once you have full control of the mob, once it starts flashing orange, it means you're losing it, so you want to go into your combo right away or flash. Okay, last few tips is make sure you're properly geared, or your gear is close to the level of the dungeon you're going into. That's important, that way you're not squishy and you don't die as fast as if you have crappy gear. And also communication. Communication is always key. Let your party know if it's your first time in a dungeon, you don't know mechanic to a fight, or you're just lost. There's always someone out there that is willing to help out, and the Final Fantasy XIV community, personally for me, has been my favorite MMO community out of all the MMOs I've played. So let them know you don't know dungeon, and they'll be more understanding if you wipe or anything like that. Alright, so let's get started with the dungeon, shall we? So this here, this party is pretty much well equipped from what I can see. This is not the best group to demonstrate with, but with this group I can pretty much assume that we can handle pretty much anything I pull. I'm confident I can keep the aggro on me, and I'm confident the healer can keep me healed up. So pretty much I put markers, which I don't usually do with this kind of group, but if you're a new tank, always put up markers, and then start with your shield lob and then 2 flashes. As you can see, I wasn't able to keep aggro on that first mob, but that's okay. But essentially what you want to do after that is you want to turn the enemies away from your party. Once you get that done, start going into your combo. Now, once you're against multiple mobs, what I usually like to do is shield lob, 2 flashes, your combo, which is Fast Blade, Savage Blade, and Rage of Alone, and then go into multiple flashes. And then once you run out of MP, go into Fast Blade, Savage Blade. After that, pretty much it's all up to you on how you want to keep your aggro. Always make sure you keep track of your aggro meter by your party list, and that's pretty much it. As long as you can keep aggro on your enemies, you should be fine, and keep doing your combo, and when you need to, do flashes here and there just so you can keep the other mobs that you're not attacking on you at all times. Also, what I like to do when I pull multiple mobs on me is once they start hitting me, I activate Rampart, increases my defense and reduces the damage I get from all the attacks. It helps your healer a lot. And what I don't use in this video a lot is Fight or Flight, which you should definitely use, especially when you're trying to get enmity or aggro. It helps increase your attack, and it helps generate aggro faster. So here, pretty much I'm doing my basic combo, and then I go with my flashes. So once I do my shield lob, 2 flashes, and then my Fast Blade, Savage Blade, Rage of Alone, I pretty much can manage these 2. Once you get 2-3 enemies, you don't need to keep flashing. You could throw it in here and there, do your basic Fast Blade, Savage Blade, Rage of Alone combo, and then flash, and then your MP. Just as long as you can keep the enemy on you, you're fine. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty basic. Okay, this boss right here is a pretty simple fight. Once you go in, you start off with your shield lob, and instead of doing 2 flashes and going into your combo, what you want to do is do your shield lob and start flashing right away. Do 3-4. Once you do that, your DPS will take care of the adds. And then once the adds are taken care of, you could start going into your basic combo and then going from there. It's a pretty simple fight. And then you can see right here, the machinist does a pushback, which usually I'll get pissed off at, especially if your DPS is a single target DPS. It could ruin their attack. So what you want to do is pretty much keep those pushbacks to a minimum. But it was fine since the mobs spawn right behind me, so once they pop out, I could just spam flash as soon as they come out. So pretty much right here, I am just doing the basic combo and then gonna regenerate some MP. So once the ads pop out, I could start doing flash, and then it's pretty much rinse and repeat after that. So another thing I like to do, once I grab a group of enemies with a flash and I activate Rampart, I also like to combo that with Convalescence as well. Not only are you bringing up your defense, you're helping your healer heal you as fast as possible, especially when there are a lot of things hitting you and there's high chance of you going down quick. Convalescence helps your healer heal you super fast, and as right there, once your DPS takes out all the mobs, continue to attack the boss, and once that's over, congratulations on defeating the first mini boss in Brayflox. In the next part of the dungeon, there'll be treasure chests that you can get from the goblins after you save them from the attacking mobs, but I just skip that and I'll just go with this encounter right here. This encounter, pretty much I take the first mob right there and then flash the two behind me. As you can see, the first mob in front of me is going to lose health really fast, which means both my DPS are attacking that pretty fast, and the two mobs behind me aren't losing that much health, which means I don't need to flash as much since I'm not going to lose enmity from those two. Once you take out that mob, pretty much it's pretty simple to keep aggro on these two, which pretty much I switch and do my combo. Now if I had, say, a Black Mage, Bard, or a Summoner in my group, I definitely keep flashing, especially since those three jobs have a lot of AoE attacks, and you will lose enmity really quick if you don't keep up with your flashes. But since I have single target DPS, I'm fine, and we take this group out pretty easy. Okay, that's pretty much it, and then we move on to the boss. Now this boss is pretty simple. So this boss is pretty simple. You start off with a shield lob, and instead of going with your flashes, now if there were multiple mobs around it, I'd then use two flashes and then go straight to my basic combo. But since it's just a single boss, I do shield lob and then go straight to my basic combo. This boss is pretty simple. Just take his attention until the ad pops up. Once the ad pops up, usually if you have a mage that knows sleep, you could put sleep on the boss. But if not, it's still an easy fight, since once you take out the ad, you're not going to lose much. As you can see right here, the boss is put to sleep. But once you take out the ad, it's a pretty simple fight. And yeah, pretty much kill the ad, and then go back to the boss, and then do your combo. And then that's pretty much it. Pretty simple fight. So the obvious mistake here is I didn't take the ad off the Dragoon. Now the Dragoon was pretty much into his full rotation, which means if that Dragoon didn't stop attacking, I couldn't have pulled it off even with my basic combo. Now this is where Provoke comes into play. So Provoke in this case would immediately put my aggro above the Dragoon. It would give me a +1 to the aggro of the Dragoon, and that would pretty much give me aggro back. Now, usually if you do Provoke and then you go into your basic combo, you would pretty much lose that, especially if you had a DPS that was going all out in their attack. What I usually like to do is I like to start off with Fast Blade and then combo Provoke in between Fast Blade, Savage Blade, or Savage Blade to Rage of Alone. Now with that, you're building aggro right there instead of doing Provoke and then starting to build it. So that way you pretty much guarantee you'll take the aggro back from the DPS in this situation. So the next area is pretty simple. It's a lot of mobs. You can either avoid most of them or pretty much attack them if you want XP. Now in this situation, this is where Flash comes into play. Now pretty much I grab these mobs and take them to a nice location, that way we don't pull anymore. So once I pull them, I start flashing. It's pretty much all I do. If you check my MP meter, I'm pretty much flashing and flashing and flashing, and once I run low, I go into my Fast Blade, Right Blade, and then flash, Fast Blade, Right Blade, and flash. As long as you can keep these things on you and dodge the AoEs, which I didn't do, I pretty much activated most of my cooldowns with Rampart and Convalescence. I have Awareness, which I totally forgot in this fight. It would have been helpful, but the healer pretty much was up to the task. I kept the aggro on me, and our DPS pretty much destroyed everything right there. So this is where you use Flash. That's pretty much all you do. It's your bread and butter in this type of situation. Now everything from here on out, it's going to be rinse and repeat on, whatever I do. If it's going to be multiple mobs, single target mobs, I'm going to be pretty much doing the same things. Now, pretty much, it's going to be how you feel as a tank. Now, if you can handle multiple groups, 2, 3, 4, and your healer can handle it, go for it. But if you're not up to the task, or your healer's not up to the task, take single groups of enemies and go slow. Take your time, gain your confidence as a tank, and then once you're ready to pull multiple mobs, do it. Also, always make sure your party is ready for it. Let them know if they want to do a speed run, or make sure your healer at least is prepared for it, because sometimes not all healers are going to want to, handle that much stress in fights. Now, this boss is pretty simple. Pretty much, the Dragoon is going to, tell the machinist not to keep doing that, but whatever. So pretty much this fight is pretty simple. Tank him, gain his attention, and once the enemy pops bubbles, the enemy's gonna put your party members in bubbles. Now, dodge the AoEs, use your cooldowns, and once the boss puts your party members into bubbles, usually I would help out, but there are some cases where you don't, especially when he does his cone AoEs. You don't want to go help for your party member and then have the boss face toward that member that's trapped in the bubble. Then the enemy's gonna do the AoE, and you don't want that. Like in this situation right here, but they got out in time. So pretty much after that, after you take him down to pretty much a fourth of his health, the last boss is gonna pop out. You're gonna attack him just a little bit. Once he gets damaged, he's gonna fly out to the last part of the dungeon, and that's pretty much it. So pretty much after you beat the boss, you'll go into one more area. Now, there's a treasure chest on the other side, but I'm just pretty much gonna cut that part out. Now, I'm gonna cut the last boss fight for this dungeon run, since we pretty much killed this boss super quick, and I really can't show the mechanics since we didn't really get to the mechanics part, since we killed him quick here. So this part right here is the last boss with my FC. This is a full FC run. Now, what I usually like to do, since this is a circular map, once you get him to half-life, he starts spitting out pools of poison. Now, this green stuff is not only poisonous to whoever steps in it, but it also heals him. A lot of tanks, especially new tanks, have trouble with this fight. Now, usually if you tank him in the middle, that's a big no-no, since once he starts spitting pools of the poison, if it goes everywhere, you're gonna lose space as fast. So what I usually like to do is start in the corner at the entrance and then just go from there. So pretty much what I have here, you can see the summoner to the right. I pretty much have a physical DPS and the healer, and if you have another ranged DPS, have them stand right behind the boss. This predicts on where he's gonna spit his pool of poison. So pretty much what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be doing your combo. It's a single target boss, so just do your basic combo right here, and do your stuns. I forgot, I don't think stuns work on this boss, but if it does, use it. If not, don't waste TP. So as soon as we get this boss to half health, he's gonna start spitting his pool of poison right there. So pretty much right here is where I pretty much make a mistake. So pretty much I don't dodge the AoE, which pretty much almost killed me, but I'm trying to tell my summoner to move, just because if he spits a pool of poison in that area and the way we're going, we're pretty much going to lose space to fight, and we're going to pretty much get trapped, which is why I pretty much had to tell him to move behind the boss. And pretty much it's pretty much simple after that. So this is pretty much what you do when you have physical and ranged DPS in this fight. Now usually if you have all ranged DPS with a healer, they could pretty much stay in the back, and it pretty much alleviates the moving around in a circle. But if you have this kind of concept, as long as you have one single DPS with you, a single DPS, or a pretty much all DPS, you want to move in the circle. It saves space. You want to make sure everyone stands, and then that way you're not trapping yourself. I've seen too many tanks tank in the middle and then just lose realty when it comes to fighting and pretty much wipe. This used to be a very hard fight, but it's pretty simple when you do it this way. So here, the upcoming section is where we would have screwed up if the summoner didn't move and the dragon spit the pool of poison in his direction. So if he didn't move, we pretty much would have had nowhere to go after this part. Now that was a big if. He shot the poison at the summoner, but I wasn't gonna take the chance. Now pretty much the pools he shot at the beginning are gonna start to dissipate, which is gonna give you more room if you don't take him down fast enough. Now at this point, usually you could just DPS him out here and just keep moving him around the map. And that is pretty much Brayflox. Now usually I like my DPS, my physical DPS, to do limit breaks since they're a little bit stronger, but the summoner got to it first, which means we still had a lot to go. And as you can see, the pool he shot at the beginning pretty much dissipated, and so we pretty much can DPS him out. Now if he spat out another pool of poison, we pretty much could move toward the entrance again and pretty much take him out, which we're about to right here. So that's it. That's pretty much Brayflox from start to finish, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I pretty much made a lot of mistakes in this video as a tank, and if you have anything to help me out, put in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.